A recent report from pro-Ukrainian source Deepstate suggests that Russian forces have expanded their bridgehead on the eastern bank of the Oskil River, taking up more positions in the forests. There are also reports that fighting has moved to the southern houses of Novomylnsk, although there has been no visual confirmation of any consolidation in the village. My prediction for the southern flank of Pokrovsk: I believe that the Russians will utilize the railway line again and the nearby chain of settlements to seize the key town of Shevchenko. This will be useful for them as it will strengthen the southern flank of Pokrovsk and can be used as a forward troop deployment point. It will additionally allow Russia to get behind the strong Ukrainian positions in Lysivka and Sukhyi Yar, which they have been trying to take for a long time. It will also cut one of the main supply roads into Pokrovsk and will put them close to another highway. This is all because Selidov was captured. As I and others previously mentioned, the fall of Selidov would be a major defeat for Ukraine, as the lack of defenses to the west of the city means that Russia can move with much more ease. The lack of defensive fortifications also makes it more difficult for Ukraine to stage flanking counterattacks, meaning that longer and what would usually be more risky spearheads can now be safely created by Russia. Geolocated footage indicates that Russian forces continue to advance in the western part of the Kursk salient and have captured the village of Zelenyi Shlyakh. This advance likely occurred around a month ago, as that was when the first reports of this surfaced, but it has only been confirmed today. 2 Russian tanks advanced south of Zelenyi Shlyakh, confirming Russian control over the village, capturing new positions in the forests. This advance likely took place at least a few weeks ago, as that was when the reports of this first came in. Nevertheless, they were able to advance from their trench positions in the southern forests, advancing to the forest plantations to the north. Ukraine responded by drone dropping an explosive on a Russian trench position. Geolocated footage indicates that Russian forces have advanced west of Dalnje, taking up new tree-line positions. After capturing Dalnje, Russian forces took a few days to consolidate control over their new positions. From there, they began attacking westwards with the goal of increasing the length of their spearhead. They were able to advance to the road which leads to Kurakhove before crossing it and taking up positions in the tree lines to the west. A Ukrainian sapper then threw an explosive into a Russian-controlled trench in one of the tree lines west of Dalnje. An FPV drone was also used on another Russian trench position. After establishing control over the eastern suburbs of the city, Russian forces managed to cross the tributary of the Vovcha River, which separates the eastern and central residential areas. They cleared the buildings west of the tributary on the southern bank of the Kurakhove reservoir before entering and taking up positions in the grain elevators. From there, another crossing was made over the tributary of the Vovcha River further south, where Russian forces broke through Ukrainian lines. Fierce clashes broke out at the School No. 5 complex, but once more Russians reached the school from the north and begun bypassing it from the west towards the city center, Ukrainian forces were forced to withdraw to the southern residential area and the city center. Russian forces, continuing to build on their momentum, began assaulting through the gray zone east of the high-rise buildings. A lack of Ukrainian drones allowed Russia to advance with relative ease. Before entering the first high-rise buildings at the intersection of Prokofiev and Peremoi streets, taking up positions there. Russian forces are continuing to advance in the Kurakhove cauldron amid large-scale Ukrainian withdrawals from the area. In the northeast of the cauldron, Russian forces were able to secure the eastern flank of their spearhead to Romanivka, reaching the Sukhyi River. Russian infantry dismounted from APCs and proceeded to take up what appeared to be empty trench positions. Ukraine responded by heavily shelling them, damaging or destroying an APC, which was returning to the north. In the southeast of the cauldron, Russian forces advanced into the agricultural buildings on the southeastern outskirts of Yelizavetivka, taking up positions there. Ukraine responded by drone dropping a grenade on a Russian soldier, likely killing him. In the southwest of the cauldron, Russian infantry marginally advanced in the village of Trudov, taking up positions in the center of the settlement. Ukraine responded by drone dropping several grenades on the occupied houses, as well as on Russian tree-line positions nearby. As for likely advances, reports from multiple reliable sources suggest that Russian forces likely captured the village of Antonivka, closing the pocket there from the east and the west.